the biggest transformation that happened in my life since joining this path is actually the spiritual awakening. I think I was always a very happy person somehow, who had a certain kind of freedom and openness. But I didn't necessarily have a spiritual direction. I had a feeling of purpose and mission in this life, and I had a lot of aspiration to bring good. But I didn't have this calling for enlightenment, that's God realization. All of these things, they seemed somehow a bit cuckoo to me. And I think this is probably the strongest and most big shift in my being that came actually very gradually and naturally. This openness to that reality, because Tantra is not a path where they tell you, and this is how it is, and God is a man with a beard on a cloud, now you believe. It's the opposite. It's like, you go and experiment, try this technique, tell me how you feel the universe is. And this has been quite extraordinary, because everything I experienced has been so far beyond what I even somehow was longing for or wishing for, or could even understand in the beginning. And it's of course started with, okay, I feel that there is much more to this life than I thought before. I feel there is some kind of mysterious presence which loves me, which embraces me, which is calling me to come more close to who I am. This feeling of there is actually a higher purpose in life than just living. And there is actually a purpose to this idea of walking a spiritual path. And I started to feel it in my own being, that when I started to taste these kinds of spiritual states inside my being, where I would feel an feeling of being unified with everything, feeling that there's no more separation between me and others or the world or all of life, or having somehow visions of that supreme reality and seeing it so clearly, seeing it undeniably. It was not something that maybe I imagine. It's like I can see it more clearly, and I know in the depth of my being the truth of those kinds of experiences, because they're so unshakable. And then you start to read stories from the saints, reading books about the scriptures, and seeing the things I am experiencing written down, being taught in the courses. And it was often like this, that I would have experiences and not understand what it is, and then a few weeks later in the course they explain, so when you do this and this, you might experience that. And somehow feeling very naturally this opening towards the spiritual aspects of life, which became more and more natural. And this feeling, okay, actually, that God that felt like it was for people who are, I don't know, not grounded in this world, actually it's very tangible for me. I feel it, and not because someone told me, but because I'm having a daily interaction with it. I'm having a very personal relationship with it, and it's becoming more and more clear for me. And also, it's not in one way, because Tantra is showing you the network of all things. So I'm having a personal connection with the Absolute in the shape of Krishna, in the form of Shiva, in the form of Kamalatmika, like I mentioned, through Jesus, and feeling all these sacred or divine entities and realities becoming actually very real and relatable aspects of life to me, that are not so crazy as I actually thought. And this connection has deepened over time and became more and more supportive, and actually transformed me in very profound ways. That certain aspects of my being that I thought, okay, they are part of my personality, they really fell away. And I can say that I achieved somehow a kind of level of unconditional peace and happiness, which can no longer be shaken. There is something, of course, I still have problems in my life, issues I need to solve, misunderstandings in relationship, things that hurt or trigger me. But there's a deep, deep part in me where I just am unconditionally happy. I am just home. I am just found. I am just already so deeply at peace. And this feeling has over the years only grown and grown. Even if maybe there were ups and downs in my practice or my past, this depth of unconditional happiness, unconditional peace, joy, which is just growing and growing, has only amplified over the years. And I can say that it's mostly because of this connection between that which doesn't change, because life, that's the part that is in this process of becoming and change. But when you start to relate to the source of all of that, which is the unchangeable aspect of existence, and you start to feel it in you, suddenly you have an anchor. You find that being inside yourself where there's no more doubt, where there's no more fear, where there's no more anxiety. And all the deep core of where our personal problems come from, they are met at the root. Because I cannot be abandoned anymore. I am already found. I cannot be really hurt because I am already loved. And then there can be still a swing of emotions, but this centered way of pure being, that has become more and more clear for me and more frequent. First, they were also glimpses of these states of freedom, just complete freedom. That it was like, okay, how I am not burdened any longer by the past, by experience. I still have emotions, they are not changing, but I am not affected by it. Who I am just is. And this is also what I wish in the future to become even more deep and even more profound, that I can also, in a way, share it with others, embrace it even more, know it even more, understand it even more deeply. And I feel that this school is offering me all the tools to do that. There are certain techniques that help you to realize your true essence, for example. There's a 14-step method that is aiming towards this highest state of self-revelation. And this is, for example, a practice that I've been doing for years, every day, without stopping, because I feel that that's one of the things that makes this center more and more unshakable. And like, okay, if I know that, if I can connect to that pure sense of being, the rest can come and go, but I am. And this is something I want to, in the next period, realize even more fully.